everyone. So in this video, we're going to be looking at Parsvokonasana, or side angle posture. So this posture is great for stretching the whole side body, opening the hips, strengthening the hips and the legs. So yoga is a little bit unique to other forms of movement, where you're actually stretching muscles as you're strengthening them. And this is no exception. Now in this posture, Parsvokonasana, we are actually adding on basically to the warrior two. So in the previous video, we worked on warrior two. We're basically setting up warrior two and then just adding another element or a couple of elements, which is one, tilting the pelvis on its side, creating a little bit of a side tilt to the pelvis, also called a lateral tilt. And we're also going to be extending that top arm. Now, if extending the top arm is too much for your shoulder, you can keep it at the hip. And I'm going to be explaining or showing this both with a block and without. But first, let's try just without the block. The block actually might be slightly deeper. I'm going to start with the easiest version, and then we're going to kind of go a little bit deeper. Like I said before, we're going to start with our warrior two. So we're going to have our legs nice and wide, about one leg's length apart, if you can do that without feeling strain or feeling unstable. We want to try to have the feet pretty wide. In fact, if we were to take your arms out to about shoulder high, the wrists might be right over the ankles, about that geometry, about that shape. Doesn't have to be, just go to the point that you feel comfortable. And then just like in warrior two, we're going to rotate the left leg internally. So the hip rotates in and the toes come in, the heel goes out. And then the right leg is going to rotate out so that the toes point towards the side edge of the mat, or the short edge. And then we're going to bend that right knee in line with the toes. Be sure not to go beyond the ankle. And try to keep the knee from rolling in. It might want to collapse in. So try to bring that right hip underneath you. There's a real external rotation in that right hip as that sit bone and right hip kind of come underneath you. And then so this is like warrior two, right? Very similar if we were to extend the arms. But now from here, we're going to tilt the pelvis on its side, which kind of points the tailbone towards that back heel, and root into that back leg. Think of that back leg as being like a root. We don't want to lose and dump our weight so much into the front leg that we kind of lose that feeling of connection into the earth through the back leg. So we keep pressing into the back leg. You might even feel a lift in this inner thigh here. And then we're going to, if either you could keep your elbow, right elbow on the thigh, or you could even take your hand. But either way, you want to push that thigh away from you and lift up out of the shoulder. So we're not collapsing here. We want to lift up. And that's true if it's the hand or the elbow. And then draw the lower belly in if you can. Rotate the rib cage to face towards the ceiling, or rotating it open, in my case here, towards the left. And then with the left arm, you can either keep your hand on your hip, or if you like, you can kind of bring the arm forward and up alongside so it's right in line with about the ear. Palm facing in or down towards the floor. Now keep the back of the neck nice and long. And then if you like, either just look forward, as I'm doing right now, or keeping the neck long as you rotate to face up towards the ceiling in that direction, not forcing the neck. And then I stretch my eyeballs to look towards that left hand. So I'm not like cranking my neck. I'm keeping the neck long, but I stretch my eyeballs to look towards the hand. Keep rooting into that back leg. And then when you're ready to come up, on an inhale, you would press firmly, strongly into the feet and lift up through that top arm. And then you can change sides if you like. So now you can take other options if taking that forearm or elbow doesn't feel like enough of a stretch for you. Over time, you could take your hand to the floor, or you could use a block. Okay, so using yoga blocks, you take one block to either side. If first the feet are wide, and then you're going to take the block to either side, either the outside of the foot, or you'll see in a moment you can also bring it to the inside of the foot, which for many people is a little bit more accessible without strain, so that's another option. So I'm going to repeat that, rotating the left foot in, right foot out, And then as I bend that right knee, instead of taking the forearm to the thigh, I'm going to take the hand to the block, either to the outside or to the inside of that foot. For many people, that's a little bit more, a more pleasant option, a more effective option, but you choose. Either way, you press down into the block and lift up out of that shoulder, and then stretching that top arm forward and up again. Now the block has different heights. You can have the block on high, medium, or low. But the deeper you go here, it's definitely going to be more intense for that right hip. Okay, and then inhaling up, and then changing sides. So I'm going to exhale, bend that left knee, put the block down, put the left knee, bend the left knee, take the left forearm to the thigh, or take a hand to a block, either the outside or the inside. Press down into the block, lift up out of that shoulder, rotate the rib cage open, and extend the top arm. Nice deep breathing when you practice. And then inhale as we come up. And then take the toes to face forward and bring the toes, heel toe the feet, or in any way that you like, bringing them back to a standing position. So that's Parsvokonasana. Now you can also use a chair the way that I use the block. So if you had a chair, basically you would put the chair under your hand, and that just sometimes makes it a little bit more accessible as well. So you have options. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. So thank you.